Woo-wee, what's going on YouTube? Is Donnie B all day. So I'm bringing you finally, we're going to get over it. We're going to get, not over it, but we're going to get to it. We're going to get through it. I am bringing you the Tops Tahoma field knife. Now this knife sells retail for $245. We're going to find out if $245 is a worthy price tag or not. Because for a lot of people, that's way too expensive. And there are a lot of options that are less expensive, but this one does come with an emergency whistle. This is not the, oh my God, he touched my butt whistle. This is an emergency, oh my gosh, I'm lost in the woods, or I'm lost in a cave or something, and you need to get somebody's attention, hello, 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 or even scare away a critter. That can work. We're going to start with the sheath on this because Tops, in my opinion, they make some of the best steel, some of the best differential heat treats in the market, but a lot of their sheaths, I'm just not a fan of these nylon sheaths. Do they work? Hell yeah, they work, but I'm just not a big fan of these. So we're talking about a clamped and ready to go pouched nylon sheath here with MOLLE compatible lashing points. It does come with cordage, and it does have something I hate, the double strap. I really hate the double strap. Yes, that means it's jump regulated, so you can jump out of a plane militarily, and it will be okay with this. But nobody's really jumping out of a plane in the military with one of these. I've never seen it. So let's go over the knife. And it's Velcro, which eventually, it's going to end up wearing out if you use your knife, which you should be using your knife. Now, let's give you the specs. First, I'm going to give you a little close-up of this blade because the blade itself is beautiful. Look at that, man. One thing about Tops, and I haven't tested this yet at all, they come really sharp. So I have no doubts that this is going to be a cutter. We are looking at an overall length, it's right here, I'm cheating, an overall length of 13.94 inches. So you're looking at 14 inches overall, blade length of 7 3/4, cutting edge is 7.31, secondary edge is 2.75, that's a swedged edge. Blade thickness is 0.190, so what is that, like 4.5, 5 millimeters almost, somewhere in there. It is a spear point 1095 RC, Rockwell hardness 56 to 58. The blade finish, one of my favorite blade finishes in all of knives is this Black River wash, they call it. I think it looks really nice. It's a very classy look. The handle material is tan canvas micarta, which has a great feel to it. It's tacky. I like it. The weight is 19 ounces, weight with sheath 25 ounces, and it is a ballistic nylon, blah, 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 designed by Andy Tran. All right, so let's see what Andy Tran did here, because immediately I found something I find with a lot of Tops knives. It's not a killer for me, but I am all about the grip. The grip has to be perfect. There's something about the pistol style grip where it curves down, where depending on how you're holding it, you lose some of your grip depending on how it's held. I can tell you this though, when you hold it in a forward grip, way down at the base, it works. It has a pretty good grip point. But here, it's just having that lump and that there's just too much. Your hand doesn't naturally go down like that. You know what I mean? When you close your hand, it's kind of straight. And this one is definitely not straight. So your hand, you really have to pull it in there to get that contouring. But check this out. It grips. It's going to stay in your hand. Why? Because he did a fantastic job on this choil. And right here being curled in is really good. I just wish this was less curled here. Maybe a little flare out before it went down would really stop that. It does have a little skull crusher pry bar type thing on the end, which is great if you're trying to knock open like a coconut without, you know, exploding it and losing all your water. Like let's say you're in a real survival situation where there's coconuts, that would be perfect. Or if you're prying open logs because you need to get grubs, things like that, you're doing some fishing, perfect. Or you're smashing open some bone or some, maybe you're on a water's edge and you're able to get some mussels and clams and things like that, or some crab, boom, perfect. That's what this thing is good for. A lot of people don't know that. They just think it's a head thing. No, it's not. It actually has purposes for survival. You do have a bow hole, drill hole on both sides. So if you're lefty righty, you can put your stick in there and you can bow hole drill without having to hold it with like a palm or a piece of wood that's going to be all flimsy. So that's very good. One thing I really like that they did here is they recessed the Chicago screws, and it's good for like cold weather applications. So now when these are freezing, your hand is not, because it's not touching any of that. You do have a lanyard hole, and you do have another lashing point right here, which is good. You have these two guys right here, and it's kind of a double purpose for me. I mean, you can use it as a wire cutter by going through there, but the main thing is if you have a camp pot, they have a skinny handle, like a wire handle, where it goes around. You use this to grab that and pull it out of your fire. That's what that's for. That's fantastic. And you know what I mean? This isn't invented by these guys, but it's been around for a long time. But whoever did invent it was really smart to notch the top so you can scoop out your pot from the fire without burning the snot out of your hand. So very, very good. This swedge, as we talked about, is sharpened, and it is a good sharpening too. It's pretty good. Let's see overall, how sharp is it? I have to say it's not as sharp as like the way my Silent Hero came, or a couple others. Is it shave sharp? Yeah. It's definitely getting hair. I could feel it dragging more with this one than some of the others, but it's still it's popping hairs. It's still popping hairs. So no matter how you look at it, it's got an edge. How good is the edge? Let's find out. All right, so before we get too far, I got a package from Pistol Pete. Great new knife reviewer. The guy, you'll see him cutting open coconuts and doing all kinds of stuff with his knives. He'll do some throwing. I really like the guy. Bigsby! So he sent me this, Brother of the Blade. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it says Brother of the Blade in the back with some blades, and it says D-Bat at the bottom. I like it. I like it. Thank you, Pistol Pete. I'm going to rock this all day today. So, to answer Scab's question, what's in my pocket today? Redcorn sent me a Masters of Defense blade, an auto open that I really, really enjoy. So I will be carrying that with me all day today. Let's get going. Let's get going. Let's yell at the dog. All right. So since it does have a fairly fine edge, we want to see exactly how very fine it is. We are going to open a bottle of water. That's a good cut. Bottle stayed. Let's try again. All right, see what happens is, you guys couldn't see it because it's really small. There was a mosquito, and I wanted to chop his wings off. Oh, you could barely see him. All right, so let's try that again. I was trying to get an upsweep to see if I can maintain that bottle there, and I think that's where I missed. All right, so here we go. In twain, son. All right, so let's pick that up. Here's something we don't do because we don't usually have broken glass around. Let's check this. Absolutely. Let's check it again. Getting to that point where it's going to start to cut my hands. And a piece landed on my foot. So let's get that up real quick. So, well, we know it'll break glass. That's faux show. So let's come over here real quick before we get to the stump, because I got this little 1-inch forest tree growing, and I gotta take it down, man. I gotta take it down. So I was gonna come out here with my hollow handle Hollywood Collectibles Group Rambo knives, but I figure while we're here, easy, easy, easy. There's another one, easy. I'll finish them up with the Rambos. Just want to show you. I mean, this stuff. Here's a vine right here. Let's see, it's free hanging, so we need a good cut. Oh, all right, pretty good, pretty good. There's some thorns hanging out over here. These catch us, so let's get rid of that and that. All right, not so bad. I just saw Roscoe hanging out somewhere over here. I'm wondering where he went because, oh, I see him now. Because you know these dogs can't be trusted. No, no, no. All right, let's go over to the stump and get this guy swinging and dinging some more. Now, I tested a Gilhibben Survivor and found out that it was a piece of absolute trash. It was garbage. And somebody said, well, it's not fair because it's a log with a bunch of knots in it. I do a lot of logs with a bunch of knots in them. A lot of them. And I haven't had knives fail the way that knife failed. But apparently it was because it was a log with a lot of knots. And this happens to be, wow, those little guys. I'm telling you, I don't know what kind these are. And somebody said maybe termites. Maybe you guys can see them. What are those little guys? They live inside these logs. I have a feeling that these guys are going to try to eat up my stump. So I'm going to try and just kill a bunch of them. And when you're talking about having a tops knife at your disposal, killing comes easy. All right, let's get back down my little legs there. All right, so we're going to use that log to do some batoning with because we were told that the only reason that Gilhibben is a piece of crap is because we used a log with knots in it. Yeah, right. All right, so let's do some 4-foot drops. Checking just balance. That's all we're doing. I just noticed it has some red liners in it. Really, really attractive. It's much better looking when you get to see it in good light. The balance is done really, really well. Let's do some hard downward throws. We'll see how well these handles are going to stay on. Oh my gosh. The bite, the sharpened swedge offers a bite that is incredible. That was very, very nice. Oh, look at how deep that went. Ugh. That thing buried itself all the way to there. That was pretty impressive. Made in the USA. So we do have a thumb wrap that's jimped. It's aggressive jimping, but not overly aggressive where it's going to be uncomfortable. So I enjoy that. This choil in the front is man-sized hand fit. It is really, really well done. So you can choke up to do anything you need. You have a nice blade width, so if you're going to do a side grip, you have plenty of real estate. Everything about the blade is good. The only gripe I had was this angle. That's it. That's the only gripe I've had with this knife. I mean, you're talking about bringing out a knife that you don't design for yourself for a specific need, and the only thing you could say is, oh, there's a little bit of an angle uncomfortability. Just a little. You got a pretty good knife. All right, so let's try just a push cut. Oh my gosh, was that simple. That was simple. We're going to try a push cut with the swedge. Now, I'm having a harder time with the angle because it's just at the tip. Ugh. No sawing, just a push cut, and that was the swedge. That was that part right there. Not too shabby. All right, so what we want to do, let's do this. Boop. We got the thick cord. I see both dogs. Straight through all the wires. Let's look at all the damage on that. Oh no, it's perfect. Of course it is. So let's put this beast up there. Oh, and we got a whole bunch of knots. Let's play with it. Wow. Oh crap, I forgot it's sharpened. That's gonna be tricky. Tricky, tricky, tricky. It's time to rock around, around on time is tricky. Oh man, that is just gonna tear that up. All right, so for batoning on this knife, now this is a field knife. Having an overly sharpened swedge, ooh, that might not be good. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, it's going through. The problem is you need a baton made of something stronger than the edge, and you're not going to get that. All right, so here's the deal. Batoning with this guy is going to be a big problem because of that sweet sharpened swedge. Now, if you need firewood, you don't need a piece this big. So let's get rid of that. Now, did it bend the tip hitting on it like it did with the other knife? No, it didn't. So, I mean, right there is a good test. This is just too sharp. I'm not gonna be able to baton. It's just gonna keep cutting that up. But it was having no problems getting through the wood. I mean, no problems. But let's see. If you were going to baton for kindling, now what you can do is you can choke way out and I can hit before the swedge. But you're talking about just smaller pieces. So if this is going to be your wilderness outdoor knife and it's that one carry, so I don't need to bring an axe, I don't need a hatchet, I don't need a shovel. If you want your one and done knife, this one might give you problems if you're trying to process bigger pieces, if you're building shelter, or if you're just trying to cut up larger pieces of firewood. This can be tricky. That's a crazy bit of truth right there. So let's see how it will do. Just making some sweet feathers. And I mean, yeah, it's like it was born for it. Like it was born for it. Those are just nice. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Those are just, that was paper thin. I'm going to show you. That is like see-through paper thin. So that there is pretty good. Let's see. There we go. Now, you can baton without having to molest the edge. And you're going to have a pretty easy time doing that. And a pretty easy time doing that. So basically, if for me, and this is just a personal thing, for me, if I'm talking about my ultimate camp knife, I've got to be able to process wood. I've got to, because I do not want to carry 16 pieces for a single camp. I just don't. So I want to go as light as possible. I don't want to attach a hatchet. I don't. So that's why when I carry the pieces that I carry, they're pieces that I know 100% and without a doubt they're going to go through anything I need it to, just without a doubt. And this will, but the baton won't take it. So I don't know. For me, would this be my choice? No, I can tell you that right away. Now, does that say anything like, oh, that means I don't like it? Oh, no, I'm not crazy about this. And I wish that, I don't know, I mean, as a fighting knife, you'd want that sharpened swedge and it would be great, right? But as your main camp knife, an overly sharpened swedge, and this is really, really well sharpened, is going to create you problems when you're trying to process, right? But let's see here. Let's see, we got some plastic netting. A lot of knives fail here. Wow, that thing went right. There was like no resistance, none. That's one of the better performers on the plastic netting, I have to say. That was pretty good. That was pretty good indeed. I like that. As far as overall balance, yeah. I mean, it's pretty good. I still have a problem with just the handle. That's it. Just the handle. If this was a little straighter, just a little straighter, I think it would be a perfect grip for me, but it's not. And you guys know I'm all about the grip. If the knife's grip isn't perfect, then your knife isn't perfect. It's just the way it is. You need, the grip is the most important part of the knife, right? I mean, you can have a dull edge and cut. You can have a dull tip and stab, but your handle has to be able to be just right. And that's where it gets to me, is the handle. Can I use this out in the field even with a sharpened swedge? Sure, I can manage. I can find a way, right? I'll just go with smaller pieces of wood, things like that. There's always a way, but that handle's got to be crazy comfortable. And for me personally, this one is not crazy comfortable. Let's see if I can balance y'all right there. Good. Let's take a few shots at the big boy. Oh man, it's just spraying wood chips. Spraying wood chips. So, can it chop? I'm holding way down here on the curve, right? And the curve for this is perfect. Oh, before we get too far into that, let's try this. Am I good? How's that? How's that? All right. So we know that works. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to pry, and you can see I'm opening it up, right? And I'm just punching and twisting, punching and twisting. And now what I just did is I made a 1/2 inch hole. Now, if I was to be making a shelter and I needed to set a stick here, tie it up to another stick, and I wanted my stick to sit really well, let's see if I can make one. All right, so what I did is I just grabbed a stick and then I just boop, 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 hammered it flat. It came out so nice, it looks like a saw cut. So let's say I need to make a shelter and I'm going from the top of this so I could have a good roof. I just made myself a notch in here that now, watch this. Look at that, it's staying put. So with pressure, I'll show you. Right here, let me see if I can see it. Yeah. So with pressure here, if I push forward, you can see how I'm barely moving it. Oh, maybe you can see. Look at it, back and forth. Right there, I made myself a nice notch, and it's going to really help if I'm putting something down here and I need to lash it to something else. Right now, I have, especially with this like a cross member here, I'd be able to put another stick going this way. This is going to hold right there as long as what over there is tied down on the other side. That's just going to be, this is going to be held by gravity right here. But this little notch, because of this action, and I can make it as deep as I want, is going to hold it in there really nice. And now I don't have to worry about using my tip and damaging the tip, because I could go like this and pry with the tip, right? But why? That's there and it works. So that's actually really, really good. That's a good piece. Let's continue just a little bit more chopping. Look at that. It chops like a banshee. I mean, the curve here is great for chopping. It's just from this position to this position, it's two different knives, right? From this position, slightly uncomfortable survival knife with a sharpened. So, you know what? If I was going to use this as my camp knife, if this was going to be my ultimate survival knife, I would just dull that. No problem. I'd take it to the grinder and go take off the edge. Now I'd be able to baton with it, no problem. No problem. And it would make it that much better. I like the thought of it, because on my fighting knives, what I'll do is I'll sharpen the swedge, but they're fighting knives. They're not made to be a pure camp knife. That's why my Camp Master doesn't have a sharpened swedge. Same as the Preacher. Same as, you know, some of my other blades. If I need a fighting knife, that's different. But overall, I mean, it's a performer. It's an absolute freaking performer. So if you're looking at it, and then you're thinking, well, what about the price? Is it worth the price? It's worth the price depending on what your intended tasks are, your intended use. if you are saying, okay, well, I need a one-all, do-all camp survival knife, then I'm going to tell you right now, it's not worth the price, because you're going to get there and you're going to say, okay, well, I should have packed a hatchet because now I can't baton with my knife. And these hold up a very, very good edge. So even batoning, you are going to hold your edge, and it's 1095, which means, yes, you can sharpen it with a stone. Yeah, I don't know. But if you're looking for a secondary camp knife, or to where you don't have to process wood, or maybe you do carry a bunch of crap with you, which I don't. Maybe you know what I mean, especially because I hike a lot. And I'm not going to hike with a hatchet and a knife and a shovel and this and that. I'm just not going to do it. There's no way. That just takes away the point of what I'm doing. Light packing is light packing. So this would not be my light pack knife. But if I was going to have it with camp gear where I already have established, like a campsite, an established site, I would definitely keep this at an established campsite, because there I don't have to worry about bringing things. It's already there. Everything is, it's already there. So that would be the difference there. If you have a campground that you can go to any time of the year, you drive up and boom, it's right there. There's your cabin and you have all that. Having one of these, it's going to help out. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, especially with the lashing points. You know what I mean? You can lash it into a spear, and having this, it's going to be really good to help defend against critters. I love this. This right here tells me it's made as a survival to help you cook, but to cook you need wood. So you'd think that the whole knife all around should be a wood getter, fire starter, you know what I mean? And then, you know, pot grabber. So it should be a one-all, do-all for that kind of stuff. This prevents that. For me, all I'd have to do is take down that edge, and then I'd have it. It would work. I wouldn't have to, you know, because trying to baton, who cares if you're going through batons, right? Because they're free. It's wood. It's just a branch. But the problem is, every time you hit, this is so nicely sharpened that the baton is going into it. So therefore, you're not getting any impact, so you're not able to go through the wood so much. That's what slows it down. But all in all, I have to say, great knife for its, you know, well, I can't even say for its intended purposes, because intended purposes is a camp knife, survival knife. So it's not great for that because of this, but it's great for that for every single thing else, right? The uncomfortable handle is great for holding it way, way down. This, I really like the way they did this. They swedged that, which made it so instead of having a square, like, because generally it would just be like a glass break, skull breaker, blah, blah, blah. That really helps being wedged on both sides, because it just absolutely makes prying a breeze. And people think prying isn't part of a survival knife or survival task. It really, really is. I could think of 10 different reasons I would need to pry, because I'm nosy. So all in all, I mean, I just want to show you this real quick. This is one thing that's impressive, is the actual materials. The materials of this knife is really freaking good. So that's it. For me, no, not my camp knife. There's options where I wouldn't have to do something to them to make them perfect. But do I like this? Can I recommend it? Yeah, this is a good knife. This is a good knife. If you were thinking about it, if you have the money to buy it, and you're thinking, oh, I really like the Tahoma field knife, buy the Tahoma field knife. You're not going to be disappointed. It's definitely one of those. Well, that's it for me. I am Donnie B all day. Until next knife.